Hey, it's Heather here. For anyone new, I just get on here and vlog and talk about things that I'm going through. And lately, I've been talking about like depression and my mindset and just all kinds of shit that's been thrown at my face, is the best way I can think to word it, and everything. And it's like, it's kind of sickening, like this life and everything, and the way that things are done, and like how you have to constantly, be on guard. And it sucks. But once you get used to it, like, it kind of just comes naturally. And I haven't done that in a really long time. And by that, I don't mean, like, be on guard, like, lock your doors and shit like that. I mean, you have to be on guard with who you let in your environment, how you let things affect you. And, like, I don't know if I posted the video or I can't even remember, because I about shot one and posted it earlier today, because I usually have been doing YouTube like first thing whenever I get up, and then I end up doing it all day and everything. And I'm going to try to break myself of that habit. Whether I will or not, we'll just see, because I'm not going to sit here and be like, I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to speak that over myself, and then when things, if they happen to not occur, get discouraged, because that has been a very bad situation, like, for as far as my life and everything. And then it's like it's trying to find balance between logical and emotional for me, and also trying to find purpose spiritually. And it's like my whole life has been a mess, is the best way that I can honestly think to word it. Not a complete and total wreck, but it's just been messy. It's been where it could have been better. It could have been better if I would have put in more work and more effort. And so I'm like sitting here kind of kicking myself in the ass, and I'm like, I got a lot of work that I got to put in, and it's mainly dealing with my mentality and everything. And it's like I have depression on me, I guess is the best way to word it. And it's like I'm gonna have to push that shit off. And I've done it before, so I know I'm capable of it, and I know I can do it again. And granted, I was only able to hold it off completely for 2 years until something happened that just kind of completely devastated me. And I don't know why the hell I gave up and gave in and didn't stop pushing. And so I'm going to have to try to get back in that mindset and everything. But it's like today and last night and everything, whenever I got done shooting the last video I uploaded last night and everything, it was like I was like, I've got to stop this shit. Like, I was getting mad at myself. And that's another thing, too, like dealing with depression and everything. Like, depression is something that is set upon you based upon... I know that there's a lot of people that don't believe that it's just a mentality. And, they firmly believe that it's a disease and it's incurable unless you take antidepressants and all that. And that is fine and good and gravy for them. Whatever works for each individual, And that is the thing that, like, society has tried to snuff out or whatever, is like individualism. Like, everybody is an individual. Everybody's going to get along with everybody differently. It doesn't matter if I'm an INFP. It doesn't matter if my hair's brown. It doesn't matter if my eyes are green. It doesn't matter if my skin's olive complected. It doesn't fucking matter, because you can find somebody that's also an INFP with brown hair, green eyes, and olive complected skin, and there's going to be a difference in us. There's going to be a difference in each and every single one of us. That's the reason God... And I'm not like high up on going to church and all that. Maybe I should get back into it. I don't know, but I honestly can't find a church that I like, because churches have their own cult-like type mentalities that I just never found one that is as free-willed or spiritually guided as I would wish, in all honesty. And then even at that, like, I think it's better to have a personal relationship with God than it is to have a public relationship with God. I really genuinely do believe in that, like, so much. Because, like I said, we're all individuals. And even though, yes, we could get together and be like, this is the one thing that we do worship the same or whatever, in finding similarities, but it's when those similarities cross the line and you try to like spoon feed them to other people. That's where the problems begin and everything. Like, it's okay to give people knowledge if they're seeking the knowledge. I firmly fucking believe in that. And unfortunately, we live in a society that, I just like to quote that was supposedly said by Morgan Freeman, I believe, or whatever, and it said, "We are living in a generation," or something like that, or in a world that would, instead of seeking out knowledge, would rather take a quiz to find out what type of potato they are. And it's like, yes, that is the generation, that is what's going on, but hasn't that always been the case? It's not just our generation. Like, for instance, my parents' generation, let's say, instead of my dad, for instance, he used to smoke cigarettes like religiously. Like, he quit when I was 15 because we got a new trailer and my mom was like, you're else going to have to quit or smoke outside, and it got too cold, so he was like, I quit, and he quit cold turkey, supposedly. But anyway, so all my life he was a smoker. Like, he always smoked. And as a matter of fact, I took the cigarettes one time and hid them in a dollhouse, like on Karina, the movie, where the little girl, she takes, and I did that to my grandparent and my dad when we was living in the old trailer and I was a little kid. And then they got so mad that they actually got rid of the dollhouse. Because they started fighting over, where's my cigarettes? Where's my cigarettes? Just like in the movie. But they only did it for like 2 days, I think, or whatever, before they found out that, like, and I mean, I'd hid like, 4 or 5 cartons, like, full, yeah. Because I was like, I don't want them to die, because I went to school and learned that they was going to die, or whatever. And, but anyways, I don't even know if they would remember that, in all honesty. But, I do, plain as day. And I think that's the reason I never got any play school, like, house stuff, is because they got mad at me for it. But whatever, that's besides the point. But, anyways, so my dad smoked. And instead of caring to know why he was smoking, and caring to know, because the knowledge, I'm sure, was out there to figure out why, why do I like cigarettes, and why am I willing to spend money on this when I want to complain about not having enough money for this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. But instead of looking for the knowledge for that, he would rather sit around and kind of argue with people about what type of damn cigarette, is better, what tastes better, what brand to stick with, and things like that. So it's not nothing new that we live in this world of distraction, that keeps you from a level of knowledge, because knowledge is power, technically, And then I even watched, what was it? Somebody was talking about how people are like, oh, well, I'm intellectual, so I'm better than you, type thing, like, somebody talking about the Bible and stuff, and they said, do you know that the word intelligence or dealing with intellect is only in the Bible this many times, but the word wisdom is in the Bible, a lot more, and so they was kind of throwing off on, being intellectual and knowing everything just to know everything. That's the difference in my mind between intellect, and knowledge like that versus wisdom. Intellect is knowing things just to fucking know them. Like, you just know it. It's just something to know, so that way you can be like, I know this. And that's as far as it goes for you. Wisdom is knowing something so you can use that information to better your life and the lives of people around you. That is the difference, in my personal opinion, between, like, intelligence and intellect versus wisdom. And so anyways, like, I'm not the, brightest person all the fucking time and shit like that, but I try to live my life the best that I can and everything. And it's like, my parents took custody of my kid, and if you've looked back at my previous videos, you will see how I talk about how my mother is a narcissist and my dad is a sociopath. And I just watched a video just a few minutes ago, and I didn't even finish watching it, and it's put out by somebody on here, and it's called The Narcissistic Family Cult, and it talks about how they turn the whole family against you and everything. And then it talks about how, that it's not just in families, it's in religions, it's in, jobs, it's in everything. And it's everywhere. And about how it goes around everywhere. And so then that's where depression can kind of bite you in the ass again, because you're like, if it happens everywhere, if I got scapegoated in my family, and then I go and get a job like I have, and I get scapegoated at work, and then I go get another job and I get scapegoated there, and then I go and get another job and I get scapegoated there, and I move into an apartment complex and I get scapegoated there, and I'm always the scapegoat, and everything, then why should I even try to fight, to get up and try to find a place where I'm going to fit and not be scapegoated, and I'm going to be in a healthy, environment that's going to fuel my growth, for my full potential on this planet, And so it's just, it's a headache. I ain't even gonna lie. And I'm literally sitting here right now, and it's like I'm in a panic mode on what to do and what to not do. And not in a bad way, though. Not in a bad way. Panic can, it can consume or whatever, like in a good way, And it's like I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm kind of inspired is the best way to put it. And I hope that I fucking stay that way for the rest of my life. And I know that there's going to be bad days and everything, and I know that there has definitely been more bad days in the past than there has been in the future, but damn it, I can put my foot down and I can change that if I fucking want to. I can train my brain to not pay attention to things that I don't want to pay attention to, things that bring me negativity. I can block out things, even if I have to block them out 1,000 times, and that's even like fucking Facebook just a few minutes ago. There was a post that popped up that's from a page that I like on my actual Facebook that I've had for a long time, like the main Facebook. Because I have one that I set up recently, and I'm probably honestly fixing to get rid of it, and I don't even know if I'm going to use Facebook for socialization or if I'm just going to use it for self-knowledge, and self-inspiration to a degree, and just follow pages and communities and stuff like that, because I'm trying to find healthy people, damn it, and that's really hard. And I'm not excluding people in a hateful mannerism, but it's like if you are at a point in your life where you want to sit in the pity party and in the misery of things, believe me, I fully and 100% and 1,000% agree that you are entitled to that choice. I fully believe that if you want to sit there and you want to, be into trying to figure out witchcraft and stuff like that and everything. If that's what you want to do, you do you. You put your time into what you want to do, and I'll put my time into what I want to do. And I don't want to do that, Even though, yes, I do get intrigued and I do wonder and I do feel like I'm an empath at times and empathetic and very empathetic and stuff like that. And it is very draining sometimes and everything else. I would rather focus on what makes me happy, And we all need to reach a point in our lives where that's what we need to do. We need to legitimately look at things and legitimately ask ourselves, does it make us happy? And then we need to let go of the fear that is entrenched in it, I guess, and just move past it. And I'm all great sitting here. I ain't even gonna lie. I've been all great my whole fucking life. That's the reason it's like I'm empathic or whatever, and I have a lot of people, and even the personality test talking about an INFP, it's like, oh, people come to you to seek advice, to seek wisdom, to seek knowledge, and that's the reason, the best gift for you is self-help books and everything, because you take that knowledge and I project it out into the world, and I project it out to people. But the thing is I'm honestly in a town of people that do not care to better themselves, because they just don't. And sadly, it's not just this town, it's the world, it's the majority, it's, and I'm the minority, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, how can I, and then that's the thing too, is I'm getting judged and hated right now, because I was able to pay my bills last month, and I've been out of work, and I'm able to pay them this month, and I've been out of work. yet, like, I'm not, well off. You get what I'm saying? But I actually have people that are mad and angry and sitting around gossiping and shit talking about that instead of doing that themselves. It is if I am capable of doing it, if anyone is capable of doing something, then everybody has the same capabilities. Now, granted, you may not have the same amount of intellect or knowledge, but it's out there. All you gotta do is reach for it and grab it and run with that shit. And I don't know how we have become so fucking uninspired as a nation, but it is literally sickening. And then you have the people that, because that's one thing that I'm sitting here, I'm like, I've got to get a fucking car. That's all there is to it. I've got to get a fucking car. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to go about doing it yet. I'm not 100% certain and set on my path on how I'm going to go about doing it. I don't know if I'm going to do it now and just be like, and I hope I can make my bills the next little bit, and I hope I find a new job, or if I'm going to do it later. But I know by this time next year, I'm definitely going to have me a fucking vehicle, and it's going to be fucking running, Like, ain't no ifs, ands, buts, or maybes up in my shit about that. And the thing is because I'm even putting that out here on, this, and I'm speaking it over myself, the reverberation, it feeding back and it being negative. And people are so quick to be negative on somebody that's being positive. Believe me, honey. Oh my Jesus, I know. And that's the reason when I see people that regularly do it as a regular behavior that is mimicked in society and accepted in society and treated like, that's wonderful to step on people and treat them like shit and go through life and everything. That's the reason I'm like, I don't even want to mess with y'all. I don't even want to talk to y'all because I done received this shit from my family. I don't need to receive this shit from the world. I don't need to receive being scapegoated from the fucking world over just because they feel that they can and just because they want to be negative and shit towards me. And so, even going back like on the shit that I said, where I was like, I don't know what the fuck the deal is with YouTube, and I mentioned people's names in my previous videos and shit. And then I'm hearing these things coming from these people, and it seems like it's hate. But it is hate, but it's probably not really stemming from them. Whether it is or not, I don't even know. And in all honesty, I really don't give a shit. I do if I allow myself to. And if I allow myself to, then I get my feelings hurt. And then I sit here and cry like I have in the videos. If I choose to not let it upset me, and I stay in that practice of not letting it upset me, just like, the little, one of the TikTok apps or whatever, one of the sounds that they use is like, oh, you don't like me? Oh, you don't like me? And then it's like, bitch, I don't care, you don't like me. And you've got to be like that, but you don't have to be like, bitch, I don't care, you like me. And you don't even have to be mocking and be like, you don't like me? Instead you can just be like, whenever somebody says they don't like you, just nod your head and go on. Don't even feed any of your energy into that shit. Don't even feed any of that. Because when you do, it is the negative catching a glimpse of you being negative and going, oh, I can feed on this and I can make this negative about you. And so, I don't know. Life is just a balancing act and you've got to figure out how to fucking do it. And I'm at the point in my life where I should have been figured the shit out. And because I've always been this passionate internally and everything, but externally, I've always let things affect me, and I'll be damned, Christ Jesus is my witness. Like, I'm not going to do this shit no more. If nobody likes me, nobody likes me. People do like me, they do like me. I don't have time. Not that they are a waste of time. but I prioritize my position with God over my position with anybody. My position with God is way more important than my position even as a mother to my child, even as a worker to my job. And to have that in me, and then to be going through the shit that I've been going through. Oh, I've been through it, honey, like, and then this girl that, like, I fell in love with, and, like, then she won't even talk to me for us to have, an honest communication and, like, us help each other, because I feel that that's one reason things happened the way that they did, and she just put up a wall and was like, you can't help me. And then I was like, okay. And so I guess maybe I'm the one that took it on a little bit of a darker turn and was like, I can help you this way though, like, like, I can help you if you'll just give me the opportunity to try, in any way or effort and everything. And so, but it's not my job to, take care of her and tend to her. It's not my job, and I'm really going to have to learn this. It is not my job to chase after people. And it is nobody's job to chase after me. And I'm not going to make or break or die just because somebody left me or just because somebody came into my life. And that should be the stance that every living creature, in my opinion, should honestly have. Even my damn dogs. If I were to die tomorrow, like, say I hopped in a car and I went driving and got in a wreck and I died. And say spiritually I could come to them and be like, hey, I'm dead. And granted, they could, people could leave them in here and they could starve to death and nobody come and check on them. But I highly unlikely doubt that my daughter wouldn't be like, oh, the pets, they're at the house. Oh, crap. We need to go get them. We need to go feed them. But it's not even that, and the reliability and trust set into the other humans, to step up and pick up and carry on and move forward. It is in God, and that is where you have to put your trust and your faith in God that things are going to be okay. And we are raised in such a society that has been crippled by, don't have faith, be scared, and, be afraid, and don't listen. And I have always been the scapegoated person, so I've always tried to follow the rules, but then I still, even when I try to follow them, I still somehow fuck them up, technically. And then I'm sitting here like, what the fuck did I do? Holy shit, And it's like, well, you didn't kiss our ass good enough is the best way to word it. And I'm just like, you're funny, And I'm like, kiss your ass good enough. And I'm like, have you kissed my ass? And I'm like, nobody kisses anybody's ass and nobody should have to. And we live in such a world that is just ran and dictated by fear and rules that are way out of sync with the Bible and with God and with a nation under God. Oh my God, like, oof, don't even get me started on that. Like, we've always, like, before I was born, we were done out of sync with being a nation under God. It's not nothing that just happened overnight, and for these damn baby boomers or what the hell ever that want to look at us and go, your generation just fucked up everything, See, it's your disrespect, it's your this, and this is the reason I end up not being able to get along with most old timers, is because the one time that I stand up to them, that I don't, like the little skit, oh, you don't like me, that's when they want to twist stuff on me. My neighbor, I don't hate her, okay? I don't hate her. But I do not want to tolerate her, and the way that she behaved towards me is the best way that I can think of to word it, that I had a falling out with, and she's an older woman. I could sense something manipulative when I would hang out with her. And unfortunately, I can usually sense something manipulative in everybody. Because we are all creations of God, and evils do, kind of pick and pull at us. And I can even sense manipulations in my damn dog. That's the reason my damn dog will sit there and just look at me whenever I'm eating. That is a manipulation. So you can sense it. But I could sense this, and I was like, but I'm still going to be nice. I'm still going to be kind. I'm still going to visit. I'm still going to put my best foot forward. I'm still going to. And then there was an incident that happened between me and somebody else, and I brought up that I wasn't the only one that had this belief, and that this neighbor also had this belief. Trying to pull somebody into my battle, trying to have backup. It's the best way I can think of to put it. Because that's what everybody strives for, and that's what everybody wants. But yet nobody looks to their backing to be from God. Nobody goes, you know what, this is my battle, and I am equipped, by the hand of God to do what I'm supposed to do. Even women don't even do that when it comes to a man. And men don't do that when it comes to a child, for instance. And what I mean by that is like a woman, she'll be scared, because somebody's stalking her, and this is most women, or whatever, from what I've heard, or a guy stared at her too long and it made her feel weird and everything. This is where I kind of get pissy and antsy about shit, like dealing with women. And this is where I kind of come across as like somebody that's all about women's rights and shit. Fear is the conquering factor of Satan. And people have tried to use fear as the conquering factor from God. Especially in a Baptist church. Oh, honey, believe me. And they try to be like, God's gonna send you to hell if you don't, and it's like, okay, and they try to do that. They try to use fear, in that way. But fear is actually the stemming, conquering, way that Satan does things. It's fear. That is his forte. That is his artwork, if you will, in the world, is fear. And God's is love. And even though I may not practice it fully, and it may take me a while to learn to get back into it, because my ego, I have to learn to keep my head above water, is the best way I can think of to word it. And we all do. But I've just been sitting here thinking on a lot of things. But like I said, this neighbor, I looked to her to fight my battle for me, because behind closed doors she agreed with me. But it was my battle. I'm the one that stood up, that stood my ground and was like, I've had it. This is how I feel. And so does so-and-so. And I shouldn't have put and so does so-and-so in it. So I regret doing that, not from an emotional sense, because I'm emotionally kind of because of my shit that I've been through. But I regret doing it because of my logical sense that I chose not to listen to. And there's a lot of things that logically I have not listened to. And then it's like, is it logic or is it wisdom? And wisdom is more valuable, because wisdom is knowledge that you can apply to a situation to help yourself out of it. And logic is just knowing things just to know them. That's like, I don't know his name. And like I said, I'm not going to mention other YouTubers, but it's like, don't stay in school. If you watch that, if you'll search it and look it up, don't stay in school, and watch the video, he's talking about the the useless, sorry, like my tongue just, and I'm tired, getting sleepy because I just ate. But he's talking about the useless. Why can't I say less? Useless knowledge that you get in school that you never use in real life. And it's true. You really don't use it in real life. And that is where, oh, well, you're intelligent because you know the square root of, you know this, but how does that help you in your everyday life? You know? And human relations make up the majority of our life, and we are taught to stifle human relations if you've ever paid attention to the world. So, we've just we've got a lot of work to do. I've got a lot of work to do. But like if I decide to, kind of think of everybody that's going through shit like this, it's like we've got our work cut out for us. But we are capable. And we are more capable than certain ones, and certain ones are more capable than us. And all we can do is pray that in due time we come together like we're supposed to. But, and I know that this video, like if you're somebody that's been watching, you might be like, whoa, kind of in this video and everything, but everybody's got to get fed up at some point in time, and everybody's got to kind of, refocus and regrasp everything and kind of force themselves, to step back into what they've known and everything else. And I ain't even gonna lie, the hardest thing for me is going to be trying to not stay a full-on, like, invert and, like, in a reclusive state. Because that's the biggest problem. Is when you do that, and yet, but maybe it is, maybe God, God makes us the way that he does. God puts us in the situations that he puts us in. How we handle them is how we handle them. And so maybe me being more introverted than what I've allowed myself to be, because I was not allowed to be introverted. I've not been allowed to be introverted in the ways that I would appreciate being introverted. I've always been forced to be more extroverted, and then I'm an ambivert, in all honesty. And there are days that, like, it's like, if I had a car, I would hop in my car and I would go to the club and I would party and I would live it up, and I would socialize with people. But then when I would come home that night and, possibly puke my guts out or what the hell ever because I got wasted, then for the next 3 days or weeks even, I wouldn't want to see nobody. I would just want to be left alone and go about my normal little routine and peace and quiet and, and stuff like that. And that's like even today, I've not cut on the TV, I've not cut on the radio, and all that I've done is watch YouTube videos. And what was it? I watched this one video where they was talking about INFPs and the countries that would be best for them to visit. And one of them was Japan, I believe, or China. And it was talking about, I think it was Japan, though. It was talking about how they were so quiet, or they respected the quiet and everything. And I'm like, because my mind has been wired, and a lot of us, our minds have been wired on the extroverted, the noise, to listen to the noise, to listen to the background noise constantly, or not the background noise, but just listen, like robots or whatever. And that's even like that quote or whatever. Oh, we won't look up knowledge, but we'll take a quiz to figure out what type of potato we are, And it's like, like, yeah, and that sucks and that's horrible and everything. But I don't know. Like, I'm just reaching a whole different level. I might come across as really crazy here in the next few months, is the best way that I can think of to word it. Because I'm sitting here on a whole nother level of, like, the noises in my life and noise reduction, like, and stuff like that and everything. Which is going to suck to a degree around here because I still got my lease here until the summer and everything. And when other people make a noise, then you instinctively are like, oh, that's like if you hear somebody playing music really loud, for instance. Just like there's a vehicle that's been traveling by quite regularly that their bass, like all you hear is boom, 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 whenever they're driving by. And they'll sit out here for like 5, 10, 15 minutes, and you're just like, I hate you, And the thing is like, I like music. I really, really do. I really, really have, and everything. But it's like my stereo's been messed up for a minute now. And even though I can listen to music on my phone and stuff like that and everything, I don't know. I guess I just need to meditate or something. Like, I honestly don't know. And it's not even meditating as much as it is just quietening my lifestyle down and quietening the mind and appreciating that I'm doing that. And even if people are like, you're stupid for just sitting in silence and thinking about things, because there's people that are like that, They're like, oh my God, you're so retarded because you don't care to watch the news channel and see what's going on, or you don't care to educate yourself by reading a book, or stuff like that, and everything. And that's not, if Jen watches this, that's not a throw off. I do appreciate the books. Like, I don't know if I'll read the psychology one, but I've got halfway through The Little Prince. But I don't know when I'm going to pick it up, finish the other half of it, in all honesty, because, I got the gist of it, like the first 3 pages. And I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, and I was like, okay. But, I don't know. But I do still want to continue getting on here, even if it is nothing more as me just getting on here and saying hi, and I'm wishing everybody a good night, and I hope that you're doing well, and, and keep your head up and stay positive, and if you're suicidal, you can talk to me, and I'll try to help you as best as I can. I'll be your friend as best as I can, up under the circumstances that we're probably going to be, coming from different points of view, but then that's intriguing, and it should be on both of our parts, and it should give our mind something to kind of wonder about and stuff. But I don't know if I'm going to get on here and talk about things as in depth as I have. Not because it's like, oh, I don't want to anymore. But it's like, I don't want to feed things that I don't want to feed. I don't want to feed things that I don't want to grow. And so I don't want my negativity in my life to grow. And nobody should want the negative things in their life to grow. And you want the positive things, to grow. And so on and so forth. And so we'll see how well I do at this transitional period, I guess is the best way I can think of to word it. But eventually, I might, to some people, come across as fake, because they'll be like, oh, I heard that this happened to her, but she still got on her YouTube. If I get to a point where I have, even 20 or 40 people on here, and they might be like, oh, she's coming across as fake because I heard that this happened to her and she hasn't mentioned it in her vlog on YouTube, and it's not that I'm trying to hide it, but it's that I don't want it to grow. You get what I'm saying? Like, and some people might not get that. And it might not be time for them to understand that. But I just don't want the negative things to grow in my life. I don't want to feed them. I don't want to give them power. And I'm tired of sacrificing my power just so I feel like I have friends. Because in all honesty, everybody's friend is God, whether they see it or not. And so, yeah. But we'll see how I do it, especially since I'm a Leo, with Western astrology. We'll see how I do with my ego and keeping my ego in check. Because I read this one post on Facebook and I was like, oh shit. You know? And it was talking about apologizing. And the thing is, though, is it's like, for instance, my neighbor. Like I said, I shouldn't have pulled her into my battle. But at the same time, I could done sense some manipulation beforehand. And then I pulled her in and it was a test. I ain't even gonna lie. It was a test. I was testing her to see, okay, you are my friend. Let's see if you're my friend. And she failed. And so part of me is like, forgive, because the Bible teaches forgiveness. But then there's a part of me that's like psychological, and dealing with my mind and my emotions. It's like, no, I tested her and she failed. So I'm not going to forgive her. And I'm not going to talk to her anymore. And then this is when the reclusive, introverted, And so I'm going to have to ponder on that some more. But as of right now, I'm not in a moment to make a full steadfast, stance against, what to do with that. And then I'm like, is it my ego or is it me actually, knowing that I can't and I'm defending myself? And then exhaustion sets in when defending yourself. So don't word it like that so that way it doesn't seem exhaustive. And instead it's instead of defending yourself or protecting yourself, which makes it seem like it is something that is exhaustive and takes energy from you, instead word it as, that to say that it disagrees with you, like say for instance if I was to apologize with her, that disagrees with me. That comes across as very snooty and everything. And so for as far as the whole, Bible and speaking words and watch what you speak over your life and everything, Jesus Christ, the type of intellect that takes, and that's the reason like I was always kind of high up on wanting to learn literature in school. And then the discouragement that I got from my family and everything. But it's like how to word that properly. I honestly don't know. It's like, and just be like, I'm not tolerating even sounds, so it's like, how would you word that? Like, I'm literally thinking, like, and to be like, I'm above that. That's stuck up, And then if you say, well, I'm not prepared for that, like I'm not prepared for that. It's not time for that. And even though it really doesn't feel like it's time for that, and I don't think there'll ever be a time for it because I honestly don't think I'm ever going to apologize to her because I'm not the one that lied, and I feel she needs to apologize to me, and it's not a matter of what it would it be like moral hierarchy, or I don't know, like I don't even know if that's a word that I just said. Like I'll be honest, like I need to my whole vocabulary list and everything, but it's like it's just if you're the one that done something wrong, you need to apologize. And just like the girl that I know I did something wrong, so I apologize. But then she did something wrong, and then it just kept tit for tat, wrong, 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 wrong. But it was little shit. It wasn't nothing. The first thing, she tried to make it out like it was a crime against humanity, and to a degree, some would view it that way, but she tried to make it out like because it was an attempt, you know. And, like, I get it. I really do. An attempt at killing somebody versus actually killing somebody, actually killing somebody is a crime. But so is, an attempt at trying to kill somebody. That's a crime. And that's not what happened between me and her, but still. So I get it. But this is not. If it were taken to court, I guess is the best way to word it, the situation that happened between me and her, it would pretty much be seen as both of our faults, And it would be seen more as mine. I know this. That's the reason I apologized. But, yeah. Apparently my apology was not accepted. And it might not ever be accepted, and I have to live with that. And the same would go if she were to apologize to my neighbor to me, that I may not ever forgive her. And the same goes for things between me and my landlord, and things between me and the maintenance people. And so life is just very trivial in that way. And that is wisdom that I do not have, that I'm trying to gain. But my God, to try and find it, I don't know where to look. And then there's this other little post that is like, oh, if there's the choice between being right and being kind, always choose to be kind over being right. That way you're always making the right decision. And even though that's cute, and even though I agree with it for the most part, I kinda don't. Because what is right, and what is wrong is wrong. And I'm going to come across as a huge hypocrite to that girl if she watches this, because being a lesbian, is wrong and a no-no, And so she kind of threw the whole hypocrisy thing up in my face anyways, because she got it thrown up in her face, and so it's just and everything. But it's like we're all going to sin, and so then being okay with that, and that's just like people that are like, oh, well, you're a Christian, and as long as you repent of your sins. And so you got the people out here that, like, for instance, they're gluttonous. They eat more than they need, and that's the majority of Americans, in all honesty. But, they're gluttonous. They eat and drink more than they actually need to survive and to carry on with daily tasks that God would deem, for them to do that was appropriate. But, it's like, oh, I ate too much, or whatever. Let me go ask forgiveness for that when I go to bed tonight. Dear Lord, forgive me for eating more than my body needed to fuel my body, and I pray that you help me and help me to be better and help me to have good health. But then there's the people that are like, but if you keep doing it, and that's the thing, we are initially going to sin. And this is where people kind of come across like, oh, I'm going to be an atheist. And then this is where you get people that are like, oh, I'm going to be, satanic or what, I'm going to worship Satan. I'm going to be a witch or a warlock and shit like that, is because they get so discouraged. Because, for instance, let's give this as an example. There's a guy in the world, let's say, and he's a teenager. And when he's a teenager, he starts watching porn, But when he gets with his wife and his wife catches him, or she don't even catch him, he stops. He stops because he's with his wife, and and this is the first girl that he slept with. Let's give this as an example. This is the first girl that he's ever slept with, so he stops. But then 3 years into the marriage, things are a little stale. There's been fights and arguments that have led to not nights of what he expected to happen happening, because she comes in from work and she's tired or whatever and stuff. And so 3 years into the marriage, and sometimes it's not even that long, sometimes it's just a few months, 6 months or whatever, he starts watching porn again. So she catches him. So she gets on to him. and they go to church and they're Christians. So God, I'm so sorry. Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. I know you forgave me when I was younger and I repented of it. And then you sent me this amazing, wonderful wife. And then I got married. But things were so hard on me, Lord. And so I had to, and this and that. And so then he gets to where he's like, okay, I'm never going to do it again. 8 months later, guess what he's doing again? Oh, he repents again. But it's like the more he repents, the more he's told no, the more he realizes that it's screaming in the back of him, yes, and everything. And so then it becomes, every 3 months. And then he's like, okay, well, every 3 months ain't that bad. So he talks to his buddies at work, and his buddies at work are like, I watch that shit every day, man. My wife don't ever say shit. And these are people that don't go to church, and they don't believe in God, and they're not Christians or whatever. So he's like, so yeah, me watching it every 3 months ain't bad, right? It ain't bad. So he looks for justification. And these people justify him. And so he does that. And so he lives his life, and he goes through his life watching porn every 3 months for the rest of his life. He binges on porn. He binges on watching porno for a day or two every 3 months. And he thinks, well, it ain't that bad, and plus I'm asking for forgiveness on the nights that I do it, so it doesn't matter. And this is where the hypocrisy of everything comes in, and this is where the hypocrisy of even dealing with Catholic churches and stuff, and they talk about, the stuff that's went on behind closed doors at Catholic churches. Life is just very complex. It's just very complicated. It's just, I don't even know. And so you got people that do that, but then you got these other people that they go and they watch porn, every single day. And they go to church, but they ask for forgiveness every single night. And they think, well, I went to church every Wednesday and every Sunday and everything that we ever had at church. And I helped decorate the Easter baskets, and I put those Easter eggs out there for those rotten little kids to get, so that way they could have more candy, because that's what they need more of is candy. This is their internal thinking, and everything and stuff like that. And yet they go home and they watch porn every single night, but when they go to bed every single night, they pray that they're forgiven for that sin, and then they wake up with a new slate, And then, the people that the guy watching it every 3 months finds out about this guy, and then he's like, well, hell, if you can't beat them, join them, shit, I'll do the same damn shit too. And then you got 2 of them doing the same damn thing. And then the majority just ends up doing that, and it's like, what the fuck, And then the hypocrisy of other people doing stuff like that. And that's even if I end up with a woman one day, and I end up marrying a woman, and everything, and I know it's a sin. If I go to bed every night and I ask God to forgive me every single night, then will I be forgiven? Or if I don't ask forgiveness, and then I'm laying there on my deathbed, and my wife has, been my wife, however many years, but then I'm like, God forgive me for marrying a woman, as I'm going to die. Am I going to be forgiven one way or the other way, or how would I be forgiven, And it's like sin is an innate, human, I don't know, it's just, and so life is just very complex. And you've got to find, if you don't find people that make you feel good, is the best thing that I can kind of come up with right now before I end this video, because it's went on an hour, and I wasn't intending, but I never, but if you can't find people that, you don't need people that glorify you and put you up on a pedestal. You don't need to be a narcissist. You don't need to be a golden child. And unfortunately, we are living in society where it's like, oh, how many Facebook followers do you have? Or how many Facebook friends? And, wow, you're so popular, and can I be like you? And shit like that and everything. And these are people that, they're on your Facebook, and you ain't spoke to them in 3 goddamn years. You ain't seen them in 3 goddamn years or some shit like that and everything. And so we're literally stepping into, I don't know, life is just, I don't know. I honestly don't even know how to close this out or finish this because it's just such a headache if you overthink it, and it is so stressful if you allow it to stress you. And unfortunately, I have in the past, and right now I'm not, and I'm going to try to not ever let it stress me, and just go through my life and live things the best that I can and hope for the best and pray for the best. And, and I hope you do too. Anybody that sees this, just, turn to God. At the end of the day, when you feel you have nobody, turn to God, talk to God. Talk to God, and don't live in that, God is never going to tell you to do something disheartening, is the best way that I can word it for people that, have battled depression and suicide and, oh, well, maybe, God is never going to tell you something like, and then people get who is it? Is it Abraham or Noah? I don't know because I've not studied the Bible like I should, or whatever, and I don't know if I ever will, I'll be honest, and I hope that I do and everything, but when he has to, or Isaac, hell, I don't know, but anyways, he has to offer his son up to God, and so he takes his son up on the mountain and he's going to kill his son, and right before he does, God stops him. Now, see, there are people like, oh, well, he didn't stop me, or stop so-and-so from killing so-and-so, or stop so-and-so from committing suicide, or whatever. So, that's the devil line. Because, I mean, if he's going to stop him from killing his own son, like, even though he pushed him to that point, do this for me, I'm God, obey me, But God is not going to have you, obeying things that are going to cause, like he's just not, And that's even like if I were to date this girl and marry her and everything, like I legitimately still want to. I'm not even going to lie. And maybe I should pray for that to be taken out of my heart. I don't know. But then even if that's taken out of my heart, I can't guarantee that it'll be taken out of my heart to not love another woman and marry another woman because the way that men are, and I tried the whole praying for a good husband type shit there for a while. And after like 2 years, I got fed up and I was like, whatever. And then, I met my husband and got married to him. And then I prayed, God, did I pray for us to have a baby? And then my sister got pregnant. And I was just like, and so the devil, he'll ride your ass. He'll find out anything he can about you and pick it apart, You've got to watch out for shit like that. And it's really hard. And life is just very struggle. It's meant to try to break you. It is. Not because God wants it to be, but it's meant to test you, to see if you are going to be worthy of making it into heaven whenever you pass, whenever you pass away. And it's a challenge. So, best I can say is, for people that especially like games, is you are in a game. You are in the grandest of games. And take that how you want to, and use the tools that you have. And granted, just like in a game, and I kind of use this analogy because the girl that, I like and everything, she's all into games and stuff. But use everything that you have to win. But not in unjustified ways, not in corrupt ways. And unfortunately, we live in a government that is pretty damn corrupt. And our churches, to a degree, are pretty damn corrupt. So it has to be a very strategically planned, and you're going to mess up. That's just like in a game. You're going to mess up. You're going to die. You're going to do something wrong. You're going to fuck up. you're going to end up at the beginning of the fucking game again and again, But you just got to keep putting your best foot forward and keep trying and use the weapons or tools or whatever that's given to you, and don't go out of your way to, look for negative ways to influence things, I guess, or whatever. But I'm going to end it here because it's at an hour, and so I better end it because if I don't, they will. And I'll let you go, and I'll talk to you later, and I hope that you're having a great night and day, morning, whatever. For anybody that sees this, I don't care if it's 5 years later, 10 years after the fact of me shooting this. I hope everyone is having a great and peaceful and restful night, and a great and peaceful day and everything, and keep your head up because you got this. And I'm going to let you go, and I'll catch you later.